Grassroots development. President Buhari expresses concern over poor deployment of resources in local governments.
50 million will be sent to the chairman with a letter that he will sign that he received 100 million.
How has the 9th National Assembly fared? Leadership gives three-year scorecard.
We need to increase availability, quality, and sustainability of services for treatment, testing, prevention, so that everyone is served.
Plus, success story of Buhari administration in HIV/AIDS control. Hello, this is NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. I am Jummai Yusuf. Michael Olale joins me from Lagos. You can follow this news broadcast on all our social media platforms displayed on your screen. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed serious concern over poor service delivery to the people at the grassroots, which he attributed to lack of administrative and financial autonomy as well as integrity in the application of resources meant for socio-economic development in the local governments. This was while exchanging views with participants of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Strengthening local governance in Nigeria, challenges, options and opportunities was the focus of the nearly one-year research work by participants of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute, undoubtedly Nigeria's apex think tank on policy and strategy. Describing their report as of high quality, President Muhammadu Buhari could not help but give his personal experience regarding the unholy alliance between governors and council chairmen in the application of resources meant for grassroots development.
50 million will be sent to the chairman with a letter that he will sign that he received 100 million. The governor will pocket the balance, and then the chairman, money for the salaries will be given, and the balance he will put in his pocket. This is Nigeria. It's a terrible thing. You cannot say the person who was doing that was not educated, yet he participated in this type of corruption. With all the sacrifices the country is making by putting you through institutions and getting you ready to lead. The fundamental thing is personal integrity. It's a matter of conscience.
The President expressed the conviction that recommendations contained in the report by participants of the National Institute will largely assist in the provision of good governance to the people at the grassroots level and win back their trust in government.
This administration has done so much in building trust between the government and the people. It is obvious that government cannot afford to pay lip service to the recommendations contained in this report. I assure you the report will be treated with the seriousness and urgency it deserves.
While challenging the course participants graduating soon to go back and put to use the knowledge acquired in revitalizing, reinvigorating, and reforming their organizations for effective service delivery, President Buhari promised that the NIPS Establishment Act and Condition of Service will be reviewed and passed before he leaves office. Director General of the Institute, Professor Ayo Omotayo, appreciated the President for his impactful leadership, strides achieved in critical sectors of the economy, and continued support to the National Institute towards delivering on its mandate of providing senior policy and strategy experts now contributing to national development.
We equally commend your efforts in handing over to the next generation an indivisible and secure country come May 2023. For us to perform better as government think tank and attract and retain a world-class workforce, we call on you to allocate more funds to the National Institute, especially for research and maintenance of our very old infrastructure.
The Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute has 89 participants who, in the course of their research work, undertook a study tour of 14 states of the Federation, 6 African countries, and 6 other countries outside the continent to have both local and international perspectives on matters concerning local governance. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, vision of good governance to the people at the grassroots is seen as a better means of winning back trust in government. For 10 months, participants of Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies carried out research that could best lead to delivery of effective service to the people at that level. State House correspondent Jide Onifade spoke to some of them on their experiences.
May 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari signed an executive order granting financial autonomy to the local government councils as the third tier of government. This research on strengthening local governance in Nigeria challenges, options, and opportunities by the participants of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies is regarded as very germane and one that is reading government's aspiration on Nigeria having good governance from the federal level to the grassroots level. I asked some of the participants about their experiences while carrying out the study.
It was not easy because we in the military, even though we have a series of leadership trainings, leading a diverse group consisting of so many people from different backgrounds, civil society organizations, MDAs and others, it's not easy. I just realized that it requires a different leadership skill set to lead such a diverse group, and we thank God it was a successful one.
Actually, my job has been tough as well, but I think the experience at NIPS was even tougher. So I think I have been brushed up further to be able to meet deadlines and to offer my services at any time I'm called upon. And then, of course, we provide recommendations in the report that we submitted, but we've also learned something about implementation strategies. Don't tell us do this, tell us how to do it. That is something that we are taking away from NIPS.
The experience is very, very rewarding. It was really rigorous, tasking and demanding, and but it instilled discipline in us because NIPS is very spot on punctuality. But the most important takeaway is that for every recommendation, you must have implementation strategies.
I think the best thing is for the nation to imbibe this kind of situation whereby people from diverse parts of the country will be brought together to discuss national questions, national issues, and bring strategies for implementations.
Everyone comes out a better person from attending the National Institute.
The president applauded the quality of the report, which he said showed the commitment and dedication that has gone into it. He said the institute could be trusted to deliver on very critical and sensitive assignments of national importance. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
One of the policy thrusts of the Buhari administration is tackling insecurity in Nigeria, especially the threat of terrorism. Giving update on the efforts of the administration in tackling insecurity in the country, the National Security Advisor, Babagana Mongono, is optimistic that with the current tempo of operations, the administration will achieve the desired degree of peace and security as well as prosperity for the nation. State House correspondent Jide Onifade tells us more.
Various policy documents were developed and strategic institutions established to lay the groundwork for future coordination to deal with security challenges in the country. The enactment of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022 is one of our key success stories in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism.
National Security Advisor Babagana Mongono briefs the press on the activities of the federal government towards ensuring that the issue of insecurity becomes a thing of the past, says the administration continues to strengthen regional and global collaboration, especially with neighboring countries in order to deal with a broad range of transnational threats.
Proliferation of small arms and light weapons, porous borders, illegal mining, as well as hate speech and fake news. As long as these drivers of insecurity are prevalent in any given society, threats to national security will manifest in one form or the other. Take this from me. This has contributed to the evolving nature of the security challenges we have been experiencing. This administration has been making significant strides towards dealing with the drivers of internal security concerns in the country.
Explaining that security is everybody's business, the security advisor also speaks on the approach being taken to address insecurity.
The administration is equally addressing security concerns in other geopolitical zones, notably banditry in the northwest and north central, secessionist agitations in the southwest and southeast, as well as militancy and crude oil theft in the south-south, among others. We have also continued to strengthen our regional and global collaboration, especially with our neighboring countries, in order to deal with a broad range of transnational threats. In addition, we are integrating societal contributions and support of the citizenry to deal with the drivers of insecurity and improve the degree of peace and security in our country.
Mungunu was the guest at the 60th edition of the executive briefing organized by the presidential media team in the State House. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Now, the near snail speed development in the African continent is partly as a result of the inability to embrace common markets, currency and military. At the graduation lecture for participants of Executive Course 15 of the National Institute for Security Studies in Abuja, renowned Pan-Africanist Professor Patrice Lumumba called for decolonization of the minds of Africans for them to collectively confront their common challenges. Kelvin Ohonehe reports.
Conspiracy theory will be big enough to hold down a people with a liberated mind. And that liberation must start with the election into leadership in Africa countries, people with a clear vision of what a progressive Africa should be. Professor Patrice Lumumba, therefore, tasked leaders in the continent to go beyond signing of declarations and treaties, but rise to the challenge of using the vast resources available across the continent to chart a new course for the future of young people whose shoulders lies the hope of the continent.
I'm suggesting to us that there is something that we must look for inwards. Nigeria, when I was a little younger, used to be famous, Kaduna, textile industry, leather industry. Then oil came. Everything was abandoned. Today, we are in a crisis.
Commandant of the Institute, Ayodele Adeleke, expressed optimism that the lecture would further enrich the horizon of the participants who have painstakingly applied themselves in the last 10 months to the study of new approach to security and governance. They are drawn from security agencies and complementary agencies, as well as 5 African countries. The event was also used to present a book, Manning the Gates, in honor of the Director General of the Department of State Services, Yusuf Mangaji Bichi. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
An extraordinary virtual meeting. The National Executive Council received briefings on the proposed Finance Bill 2022 and resolved to update the draft with additional inputs from state governors as the bill goes ahead to the Federal Executive Council. The meeting, which was presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, members of the council were briefed on the main features of the bill by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed. According to the minister, the proposed Finance Bill 2022 is anchored on 5 fundamental policy drivers, which are tax equity, climate change, job creation, economic growth, tax incentives, reform, and revenue generation, including tax administration. She added that the bill seeks to amend relevant taxes, excise, and duty statutes in line with the macroeconomic policy reforms of the federal government and to amend and make further provisions in specific laws in connection with the public financial management of the federal government. Other aspects of the finance bill include chargeable assets, exclusion of losses and replacement of business assets. The minister further noted that extensive consultations have been done in aspects of the bill such as tax avoidance and tax evasion by introducing a general anti-avoidance route. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has restated that the present administration under President Muhammadu Buhari has consistently supported states with funds to enable them deliver the dividends of democracy. The minister stated this at the 6th edition of the PMB Scorecard Series 2015 to 2023, which featured the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed. Anthony Fossen reports.
Education and Culture Minister coordinating the PMB Scorecard 2015-2023 series said it is noteworthy that President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has succeeded in beating the record of past administrations in the area of funding projects and supporting other tiers of government to deliver the dividends of democracy, especially the states.
I make bold to say that no administration since the beginning of the current political dispensation in 1999 has done more than the Buhari administration in supporting states with all sorts of financial interventions. When the administration assumed office in 2015, at least 27 states could not pay salaries. Imagine what would have happened if Mr. President had not offered a helping hand without discrimination to the states. But for Mr. President, most of the states would have been plunged into serious socio-economic crisis with their consequences for the country.
Lai Mohammed pointed out that the support to the states was, however, in the face of paucity of funds.
Please note that the support to the states came at a time when national resources had dwindled drastically, and also at a time of competing needs in many areas, including infrastructure, security, global pandemic, etc.
The finance minister, Zainab Ahmed, while fielding questions from journalists, first made the point that Nigeria is not broke.
We continue to generate revenue on a monthly basis, and these revenues are distributed as fact. And to continue with the tradition of transparency, we actually disclose how much is distributed on a monthly basis to the various tiers of government.
With increase in oil production, revenue she maintained is not enough to meet competing demands.
Unfortunately, oil revenue is underperforming because of the criminality, but recently NNPC has reported that that has been curtailed, and we're already beginning to see the pick up in the production volumes, which will mean that more revenues will come to the Federation.
The finance minister explained the reason for food inflation, among other issues.
In our country in particular, the highest component of inflation is food inflation. What is driving food inflation? Food inflation is driven largely by the cost of logistics. Farm gate prices today in Nigeria have declined. But when you move those crops, those produce from the farm to the market, then the costs are high. So it's the cost of transportation that is driving this inflation.
On funding for the media, she was specific that government is not oblivious of the critical role of the media. Hence, they remain partners in progress. In Abuja, Anthony Fossen, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. We'll take a break. When we return, more reports. Do stay.
It depends you. It depends us. It depends everybody. Yes. But what? Bloodshed, scatter, come out. It no go solve. This one they talk. And make them go if they want go. This one they talk. We go come out, we go. This one say, make we scatter, make we burn, make we do everything. When you scatter finish, where you go? Okay, you go take private jet, carry your family go. But make I ask you, what about your uncle, mama, auntie, brother, sister? What about them? Remember, who throw stone for market? You don't know whether the stone go touch your own person. If the two will go come out from your mouth, you no go fit gather us together as one people. Shut up. with police. War no get friend. You don't know language, you don't know anything. So if our get too much, make we sit down at the table of dialogue. Nigeria na my own, Nigeria na your own, Nigeria na our own. Make we come together, keep them together.
The Minister of State, Petroleum Resources and Chairman, Governing Council of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Chief Timipri Silva, CON, and the management and staff of the NCDMB invite delegates and oil and gas stakeholders to the 11th Practical Nigerian Content Workshop. Date 5th to 8th December 2022. Venue, Ibom Hotel and Golf Resort, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Theme, Deepening Nigerian Content Opportunities in the Decade of Gas. The event will feature an invitational golf competition, high-level presentations by leaders of the oil and gas industry, exhibitions, and exciting social events. Register on www.pncnigeria.com. We look forward to welcoming you. Signed, Engineer Simbi Kesiewabute, Executive Secretary, NCDMB.
Our journey home begins with a single step. It doesn't matter which direction we walk in. We'll always find our way home.
There you are.
Sometimes we pick up friends along the way.
Ishaya, our best friend.
Sometimes we make enemies.
People love a good friend.
Because there is no journey without an adventure. Every day we move forward into the unknown. Because every step forward brings us closer to home. This is our home. Join us as we showcase the best from Destination Nollywood. Because Nollywood is home on Netflix.
My people, my name is Emeka. Mekus Kamat. Let me get all this people. I don't learn my lesson. Somebody come buy motor for my hand, carry big money, come give me. Now when we get bust, then my eye open. I don't know say that 419 be. Now when EFCC grab him, now they come grab me too. Now he make me they warn you. All of them when they do business like me, where they carry big money, well I go sometimes I go carry transfer, carry bring back. Yeah. Look when I shine in my eye because the special control unit against money laundering, what they call SCUMO, they don't want to say if the money pass 5 million naira for individual, no collect them. If it pass 10 million naira for company, no collect them. Can I go where? Bank. If you not do them like that, 250,000 naira for every day where this offense happen. Or they go suspend your license, or they go cuckoo, shut them down. For your hand. No talk say, I know one you.
This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Major General Haldu Anthony Hanania, retired MNI, cordially invites the general public to the book presentation titled All Eyes on Me. Special guest of honor, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chairman of the occasion, Boss Mustafa, Esquire, CFR, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chairlady of the occasion, Her Excellency Chief Mrs. Pauline Talin, OFR, Minister of Women Affairs. Book presenter, engineer, Dr. Abdul Kadir Aminu Mbamba, Walling Adamawa. Book reviewer, Professor Suleiman Bogoro. Date, Saturday, 3rd December 2022. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Venue, Shehu Musa Air Adua Memorial Center, number 1, Memorial Drive, Central Business District, Abuja. For details, contact 0706 676 0488. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
Thanks for joining us. In the last 7.5 years, HIV services have received tremendous improvement, leading to significant drop in new HIV infection. Now, Mbasi Ita Ekpan reports that this was disclosed at this year's World AIDS Day, where Nigeria is said to be closer to the UN AIDS target of ending HIV/AIDS by 2030.
It is another World AIDS Day. We started with Mentor Mother, not her real name, who came to NTA with just one motive: to share our experience to the wider world and to encourage other women in our situation. She has been living with HIV.
Ignorant.
That is not the story.
Summon courage.
Mentor mother has a set of 14-year-old twins who are HIV negative.
Information I got.
She advised other mothers to go for tests. If positive, access treatment and deliver their babies possibly without the virus.
The issue of stigma was very high, but then I was able to come out and assess HIV services and treatment.
And now to the event, where stakeholders say ending AIDS by 2030 requires collaborative efforts to ensure all barriers to inequality are removed in line with the theme.
This year's theme is Equalize to End AIDS, Equal Access to Treatment and Prevention Services. And it calls for collective action.
We need to increase availability, quality, and sustainability of services for treatment, testing, prevention, so that everyone is served.
That the civil society and people living with HIV are always around the table in your discussion, because you can't be discussing how to fight it while people living with HIV are not on the table.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, who was represented, advocates the removal of treatment gap between children and adults.
It is also important that we equalize for our children. Evidence is also suggesting that while 3/4 of adults living with HIV and AIDS are on treatment, worldwide, about less than 50% of the children living with HIV and AIDS are on treatment.
The event featured the launch of online contribution to the HIV Trust Fund to ensure more people living with HIV have access to treatment. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
To legislative matters for exporters who have been owed export expansion grant between 2007 and 2020. The story coming from the Senate is exciting. The legislators have approved 308.4 billion naira for this resettlement of those claims. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
Export Expansion Grant is a federal government program that supports exporters to expand their international businesses. It is accompanied by some financial grants after verification of the value addition of the trade to the economy. Between 2007 and 2020, there has been accrued indebtedness by the federal government. This it seeks to settle as it approached Senate for approval of the funds to the tune of 375.4 billion naira. After scrutinizing the claims, Senate approved 308.4 billion for 194 companies and stepped down 60.6 billion for 34 companies which could not present validating documents for their claims.
The scope of this request cover EEG verified claim from 2007 to 2020, 165 companies.
And the whole idea too is that it allows for inflows into our foreign reserves as well.
I think for us to have clarity on this, why not ask the committee to give us a feedback?
Senate has also passed 607.9 billion naira 2022 budget of the Federal Capital Territory. The budget, expected to run concurrently with the 2023 budget till June next year, has 76.5 billion as personnel, overheads 127 billion, while 403.7 billion is for capital projects.
For the first time in recent time, indigenous companies are going to be more involved in construction of projects that are within their powers to do, so that we can keep our economy moving.
First, it is absolutely necessary that the budget of the FCT comes to the National Assembly in good time, September of every year.
Senate passed the Federal Medical Center of Bupa Nsoka Enugu State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Chukwuka Otazi, and the Administration of Criminal Justice Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by the Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Oji Uzokalo. Two higher institutions establishment bills passed second reading. The Federal University of Technology, Sabon Birni, Sokoto State, sponsored by Senator Ibrahim Gobir, and the Federal College of Education, Karim Lamido, Taraba State, sponsored by Senator Issa Shuaibu Lao. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Senate has demanded details of the disbursement of ₹500 billion loan to the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, especially details of beneficiaries by the Development Bank of Nigeria. This was at the hearing by the ad hoc committee investigating the disbursement. Ignatius Unko tells us more.
It was the second day of investigative hearing on alleged uneven disbursement of funds by the Development Bank of Nigeria. The parliamentary committee mandated the bank to furnish it with details of beneficiaries of the loans and grants by the next sitting.
That we gave 47% of the money that we are supposed to distribute only Lagos. All those details. So the banks will also provide you with the beneficiaries.
The Ministries of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and the Central Bank of Nigeria are also expected to appear in the next sitting. It was a day of investigation at the Senate as the Committee on Special Duties made it clear that there was no any issue of padding in the budget of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and demanded clarifications on the provision of 30 billion in the 2022 budget, which the minister said was not released, and the proposed 206 billion for security equipment in the 2023 budget.
And we have given this explanation, and I'm still repeating it, that we are still waiting for the clarification from Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning.
This money we are talking about is not money that comes to the ministry. It's cash contribution to an international, a bilateral project.
I still want to address the press. Please and please and please, don't create issue that is not there. But certainly there was no party.
Investigative hearing continued at the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption, with the agencies implementing the process of crime, where the officials of the Nigerian Navy appeared before it to answer questions on its process of vessel seizure. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Traffic in Persons also appeared before the committee. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The leadership of the National Assembly has unveiled the third annual report of the 9th National Assembly. Let's join National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Morimbiri for details.
The 30-page book is enriched with a holistic performance appraiser of members of the 9th National Assembly to increase public awareness on parliamentary activities, particularly as the general elections draw closer.
For us, we want to bring to the awareness and sensitization of citizens that, look, this is what members of the National Assembly have been doing and should be doing. So we put that out for citizens to make their judgments.
The leadership of the National Assembly expressed satisfaction with the facilitators, especially as it enlightened the public on the workings of the legislature.
The barometer for measuring the performance of a legislature should be by the number of bills that he has sponsored and have seen the light of the day, not by the number of weddings or burials that he attends. We have really raised the bar and raised the consciousness of Nigerians as to the actual duty of a legislature.
I want to congratulate you on work done. There is also a lot to be done.
The annual performance scorecard is expected to form a guide to the 10th National Assembly. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
Proper understanding, appreciating and respecting individual differences are necessary for the nation to achieve the vision, unity and brotherhood among citizens. This was the view of religious leaders and other speakers at a one-day national interreligious conference organized by the Kano State Government. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
We must live in peace and tranquility. This dialogue must continue.
Pulpits in the Muslim and Christian places of worship were virtually mounted in the Coronation Hall of the Kano Government House. It was a national interreligious conference organized by Kano State Government.
Only up, but would not have come at a more promising time as now, when our country has come under the threat of security, more sectarian violence often waged in the name of religion by selfish elements and by selfish politicians.
Key messages, therefore, were on good neighborliness, tolerance, and perseverance. The aim is to harness Nigeria's diversity for sustainable peace and national development.
We are more empowered to support any effort or initiative that brings peace and tranquility within our social fabric.
Presentations and discussions of paper topics showcase the affinity among followers of divine religions and the need to be one another's brother's keeper, especially with election season around the corner. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Time to join Michael in our Lagos Network studio for more from that axis. Hello, Michael.
Jumai, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has reiterated that the Commission will not allow voting without permanent voters card (PVC) in the forthcoming elections. He makes this emphasis at the opening of induction for newly appointed electoral commissioners in Lagos. Samuel Johnson reports.
The Electoral Act 2022, Professor Yakubu explained, will be a major guide for the conduct of the general elections, which is months away.
Any Nigerian who wishes to vote on election day must present his or her PVC to the presiding officer at the polling unit in the constituency where he or she wishes to vote. And the policy of the commission is no PVC, no voting.
Bemoaning the wanton destruction of offices and election materials by suspected hoodlums in recent times, the INEC chairman asked security agencies and community leaders to assist in stemming the tide. Representative of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, says democracy is under threat in most countries and the onus is on electoral umpires to be as transparent and independent as possible to gain the confidence of the people.
There's a new electoral act, there's a legal framework, and I think this should be the basis of addressing the concerns when they happen. Of course, prevention should also be a part of it, and this is where it's the responsibility of INEC to ensure that it conducts a credible process.
National electoral commissioners and resident electoral commissioners from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory were in attendance. In Lagos, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
Key players in emergency crisis and disaster risk management advocating a more robust public participation in crisis mitigation efforts as the surest path to checking unforeseen crises within the ecosystem. Ruth Aria Samuel reports that as prelude to intensifying this advocacy, a workshop was held in Lagos.
Summit with the theme Advancing Innovative Mitigation and Adaptation Actions for Climate Change in Nigeria, post-COP27 initiative is aimed at encouraging conversations around the subject matter, particularly its ramifications for global economy, while educating members of the public on mitigating measures.
Climate change can threaten the resilience and safety of people, sometimes causing them to become displaced from their homes and communities.
Engineer Jamiu Badmus, his paper entitled Strategic Enterprise Risk Management and Business Sustainability in an Era of Pandemic and Climate Change, x-rayed the linkage between sustainable development goals and climate change.
If climate change can lead to flooding and all your farmland have been flooded, how we get food to eat in the country? So climate change has a lot of impact.
Other players in the risk management ecosystem agreed that all hands must be on deck to ensure that potential disaster situations are proactively handled.
Geneva, as a responsible service, understands the impact of climate change, having witnessed it daily in its operations in the maritime environment, and identifies with your organization, with this institute, as you strive to proffer solutions at mitigating the effects of these menace.
We now introduce what we call safe to load process. It's a concept, a policy accepted and confirmed by federal government that we should take the battle to their homes. Any vehicle that is not meeting up to the minimum safety standard is not allowed to be on our roads.
Highlights of the summit was the conferment of fellowship awards and certificates on deserving members of the institute. In Lagos, Ruth Ario Samuel, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news will be back shortly. Please stay.
Our journey home begins with a single step. It doesn't matter which direction we walk in. We'll always find our way home.
There you are.
Sometimes we pick up friends along the way.
Ishaya, our best friend.
Sometimes we make enemies.
People love a good friend.
Because there is no journey without an adventure. Every day we move forward into the unknown. Because every step forward brings us closer to home. This is our home. Join us as we showcase the best from Destination Nollywood. Because Nollywood is home on Netflix.
In a third final in 20 years.
Out of this world, Yakata. Now you can get a GoTV decoder, GoTV, and 1 month of GoTV Jolly for only 4,900 naira and enjoy all the show-stopping games live from Qatar on GoTV.
It is with sadness and in submission to the will of God that the family of Right Honorable Goodluck Nana Opia of Ogboru Abacheke Egbema in Ohajeboma LGA of Imo State mourns the untimely exit of their wife, mother and grandmother, Ezine Florence Nkemnaso Opia, née Okunwa, 1964 to 2022. A service of songs will be held in her honor on Thursday, December 1, 2022 at Right Honorable Goodluck Nana Opia's compound, Abacheke Egbema, time 4 p.m. Funeral church service at St. Michael's Anglican Church, Abacheke Egbema, on Friday, December 2, 2022 at 11 a.m. Interment follows after church service at the family house, Abacheke Egbema. Outing service on Sunday, December 4, 2022 at St. Michael's Anglican Church, Abacheke Egbema. Late Ezine Florence Nkemnaso Opia is survived by her husband, Right Honorable Goodluck Nana Opia, Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Education, 4 children and 3 grandchildren, son-in-law, brothers and sisters, including hosts of other relations. May her soul rest in peace. Signed, Right Honorable Goodluck Nana Opia, husband for the family.
You're welcome back. Now let's bring you up to speed with other news making the rounds. Vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Senator Datti Baba Ahmed, has emphasized that contrary to misinformation in public domain, Peter Obi is wholly in support of oil production in the northern part of Nigeria. Senator Ahmed said this while briefing newsmen on some issues of concern to the party. Ekene Indulwe reports.
29 September 2022. 18 political parties involved in the general election consented to a peace accord, giving confidence that the election season will be peaceful and issue-based. 2 months down the line, Vice Presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Senator Datti Baba Ahmed, is concerned that the verbal attacks on the Labour Party presidential candidate by opposing parties and calculated misinformation to disparage the candidate.
His Excellency Peter Obi repeatedly stated at various local and international fora that the greatest physical asset of Nigeria is the vast, rich land in the north. To the architect of consumption to production, oil in the north means more revenue for development, more jobs and opportunities.
Assassination of Victoria Chintex Labour Party women leader for Kaura local government area of Kaduna State is the height of series of attacks reported by the party against its members, and Senator Baba Ahmed is calling on the authorities to ensure justice is served. The party is planning rigorous campaigns in coming weeks and is urging its supporters to get their PVCs and express their choices at the polls. Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has promised to create employment opportunities for Nigerians if given the mandate to serve. Senator Tinubu made the promise during the APC campaign rally in Yenagua. Doris Akumwe has details.
The campaign train of the Tinubu-Shettima ticket defied the showers of rains as large number of supporters turned out to receive their principal, whom they describe as a reflection of a renewed hope. The presidential hopeful of the APC, Bola Tinubu, said the vote for him will bring about development and reduce the unemployment level in the country. He particularly promised to tackle the erosion challenge which has washed away houses in Bayelsa State. Bola Tinubu called on Nigerians to vote wisely, guide their PVC and ensure that they deliver APC come 2023.
Vote for me, and we'll make your life better. Vote for Lagos, and see what can make of Lagos. Lagos will improve tourism.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipro Silva, who is the Bayelsa State Coordinator, said Tinubu is a great personality who has a track record and footprint as Governor of Lagos State, calling on Nigerians to give him the mandate.
We must vote for the man that will create works for you. We must vote for the man that knows the way.
Speaker, House of Representatives, Campaign Deputy Director General and other stakeholders pledged their unalloyed support for the Bola Shettima ticket.
It's true that this man has developed men and women of consequence in this great country. And no other man deserves our vote.
In Yenagoa, Doris Akumwe, NTA News.
Away from politics, Acting Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Dauda Alibiu is advocating preferential treatment for military personnel who have survived war situations while hosting the leadership of the Nigerian Legion in commemoration of the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. He emphasized that their welfare must not be handled with lethargy, having served the country meritoriously. Oyeyemi Ajayi reports.
Military personnel have given everything to protect territorial integrity of the nation, with paying the supreme price, while some equally survived. The survivors are often confronted with series of challenges ranging from health to psychological ones. Acknowledging the efforts of fallen heroes and those who survived, the Acting Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps Dauda Alibiu pledged the extension of the Corps' support and partnership with the Nigerian Legion.
The population of young widows are growing every day. So much so that we are finding it difficult to cope with the children left behind and their other dependents, plus one their eight mother.
It is a responsibility, therefore, of everyone to assist the Nigerian Legion so that you can extend that assistance to members of the armed forces who have one challenge or the other.
In appreciation of the Corps' unwavering support towards the organization, the group decorated the Acting Corps Marshal and his management team with the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Now let's join Benny Adams for happenings in the world of business. Hello, Benny.
Thank you, Juma, and welcome to Business. Ahead of trading in Africa's continental markets, government and business leaders across the continent have described the free trade zone scheme as the continent's game changer if the right policies are implemented and the required infrastructure provided. This was at the 30th anniversary symposium of Free Zone Scheme in Nigeria.
The time is now, and we need to build on the opportunity before us.
jobs have been created in agro-processing, industrial fields, services, and more than 2.6 billion US dollars have been invested in the development of the SEZ projects across the continent.
Nigeria has leveraged on this concept to offer enabling business environment that has so far attracted about 26 billion US dollars investment through the existing 46 free trade zones and about 625 enterprises operating within those enclaves.
And still on the economy, the Small and Medium Scale Development Agency, SMEDEN, has commenced training and empowerment of youth in the North Central Zone under the entrepreneurs and vocational components of the National Business Skills Development Initiative in Abuja. The program is put in place to train potential entrepreneurs with skills to help them start and grow their businesses in fashion designing, leatherworks, laundry, and car wash, after which they are issued with startup packs which include industrial machines.
Medan has gone all out to see how they can give them a startup kit to start, especially the youths that are just roaming the streets, because we believe in Smedan that the days of the white collar job are over. And after some weeks, we will go back. We want to monitor them to see what they are, the state they are now, and where they're having the challenges.
And taking a look at the markets, after a record positive close in November, Nigeria's equities market opens the month of December on a negative note, decreasing slightly by 2 billion naira. At the end of today's trading session, a total of 172.8 million shares in 3,073 deals, corresponding to a market value of 2.8 billion naira, were traded. Compared with previous trading, today's data shows 62% improvement in volume, 116% improvement in turnover, but 5% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 26 trillion naira. FBN Group recorded the highest volume of 49.8 million traded shares, followed by Cartville Business Solutions 16.9 million, Access Holdings 12 million, and United Bank for Africa 10.8 million. That is Business News. Network News continues after this break.
This is the moment we've been waiting. It's time to rise up, do it again. Africa, do your dance now. Why do your winning dance now? So we never lose it again. Africa rise up, yes we gon' rise up. Africa rise up, Africa rise up, yes we gon' rise up. Africa rise up. Men do not like overconfident women. Don't touch me without my permission.
I'm a playful guy and I do get carried away sometimes.
You are selfish, manipulative, and you are a narcissist.
That's all I've done for you.
What have you done for me? She called me back.
You know my mom doesn't know any better, right?
You say that now, but then when you see your mother, you start to act like you're a dead dog. You were supposed to be more careful.
I've been.
Clearly not enough.
You're welcome back, and Sports Update is next.